everybody. My name is Patrice Cullors, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter.
And hi, I'm Storm Reid, a actress and philanthropist.
And I might share we might have to share mics.
Okay.
I think your mic is low.
Okay.
So we are competing against the sounds of Complexcon, which is amazing.
Yes.
It's like a metaphor for what's happening in the world right now. And we're super grateful to be in conversation here at Complexcon with Storm Reid. We do fireside chats here inside the BLM booth because for us, it's not just about selling product, but we're also trying to have larger conversations about what's happening in the world. And Storm, I met you a couple years ago at the Teen Vogue Summit, and it was amazing to meet you, and I love the work that you've been doing.
Thank you.
I want to start with actually talking about some of the work that BLM's focusing on. We talk a lot about police brutality, climate change, economic justice, and we're calling on our presidential candidates right now to talk about a lot of those issues. I'm wondering, as a young person, what are the things that you're feeling most interested in, and what do you want our candidates to be talking about?
Yes. I think it's important if you want to be civically engaged, you have to be civically engaged about something and be passionate about something. So whether that is about gun reform or the school to prison pipeline, or the fact that there is a percentage and a majority of young black girls that are being pushed out of school rather than being helped. I feel like all of those things are important, and all the things that you brought up are important as well, but I don't think it will be beneficial to try to prioritize one thing and put another thing on the back burner. I feel like that's why having these conversations are important, so we can connect and we can try to help each other, help our global community. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do.
I love that you said we can't talk about just one issue.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. How many of y'all out there, by a show of hands, that you're not interested in just talking about one single issue? Raise your hand if you want to talk about more than one issue, right? Because we don't live single lives, right? If you're black and a woman and queer, raised working class, dealing with a disability, you don't want to just deal with one of those issues. So I love that you brought that up.
Thank you.
We're in this epic election year, right? Right.
Yes.
That's exactly what I feel. Every time I think about it, I'm like, there's so much at stake.
Yes.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to? What are you thinking about in this election year cycle? Yeah. What are you looking forward to in this moment? And what have you seen that's inspired you?
Yes. For me, I'm just looking forward to actual change and real change, and being able to have a person in power and a person that's able to have so much power be able to be authentic and understand the quality of accepting that you can have more than one interpretation of something. I feel like our current administration and our current people in office are just really selfish and not selfless. So I'm really excited to hopefully get a person in office that's selfless and wants to connect with people and wants to make a change and wants to help the global community as president or whatever you're trying to be in office for.
Beautiful. I love that. I think we're living in a moment, for me, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm scared. Like, I wake up like, what's gonna happen next?
Yes.
And how do we fight that, and how do we deal with it? We're here at Complexcon, which is like a wild, amazing, crazy space, but also, you get to have conversations like this, right? And you get to step into other booths and have these like really interesting organic conversations. I also think a lot about art and culture, right? This is like a cultural platform, and how it changes the world, and has how culture can change place. And you're an artist, right? I want you to talk a little bit more about why art and culture. Why is it so important to you and the work that you're doing? And maybe even talk about some of the work. What's some of your favorite work? Like, what do you feel like you've done that has helped change the culture?
Yes. I feel like it's just very, very important for me to be a part of projects that are impactful, because impact is something that's beyond me, beyond you, beyond everybody else. Everybody else listening to this conversation, watching this conversation now, it's something tangible that we both can leave behind. So I rather be known for impact rather than a project that I'm just a part of. And I feel like you should be trying to evoke a conversation and make change with the projects that I align myself with. And just being inclusive and representative of what the real world looks like, and trying not to represent someone or represent a situation, but representing that situation or that person in the wrong light or in the wrong way. So as an artist, I feel like that's very important, because I feel like I'm not an activist. I like to call myself a active learner, an active thinker, and an active listener. But I do understand the quality of civic engagement.
Love that. I think a lot about what it means to be. How old are you?
16.
Oh my!
I'm a baby.
I think as I get older, I'm like, what? There's 16-year-olds? Yes, there is. So, being a 16-year-old and being a teenager, and in this climate. So 6.5 years ago, when we started Black Lives Matter, you were 10.
I was.
You were 10 years old. How has Black Lives Matter impacted you, and how you think about the world that we're living in?
Yes. For me, Black Lives Matter is an organization that, it might sound cliche, but an organization that humanizes me, because I feel like we're in a world that is built to dehumanize us, Black and brown folks. So to be able to be a part of an organization, or even watch it from afar, to where you guys are looking at the evils of our society and you are trying to dismantle the systematic oppression that we've lived in for years, and just letting people know that our lives do matter, and our lives matter so much that we are going to have conversations like this, and we are going to resist. And I feel like I wouldn't call it a perfect example, because it's unfortunate, but I feel like we're resisting right now, and specifically resisting for the life of Atiana Jefferson. She should still be here, and she should still be living her best life, but since she can't be, and we're still here to amplify her voice that was lost and amplify each other's voices, I feel like that's most important.
I have two more questions, my two last questions. What do you feel most disturbed by right now in this moment, and what do you feel most hopeful by?
Ooh, most disturbed. It disturbs me that people don't value our lives, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on this panel or having this conversation. It's disturbing that we are disproportionately penalized for just existing. So that's why through my art I try to be so inclusive, and I feel like diversity was a big thing, but it is important to have diversity within a project, in front of the camera and behind the camera, and giving women the power to make change, and giving them money to make change, and actually hold power. But what makes me hopeful is I feel like Generation Z and my generation being so willing to make an impact, and willing to lend our voices. And even though we are still on the cusp of adolescence and trying to figure out ourselves, we are taking a big risk. And yes, we are the future, but realizing and acknowledging that we are the present, and we're going to try to make a change. Even though you may not be listening to us, we're not going to stop.
Yes. Give it up for Storm Reid, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
16 years old. 16 years old. Thank you so much, Storm, for coming by.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
For hanging out with us at Black Lives Matter, being at our booth.
Yes.
Y'all hang out, talk, chat it up.
Yes.
You can stay. We're going to have another conversation after this with the collaborators, with FUBU founders that we collaborated with for our Complexcon activation. So thank you so much, y'all.
Yes. Awesome.